Good evening. Welcome to the news. My name is Victor Muyakane, and this is the Daily Report with me and, of course, the great Rhoda Nyamai on sign language. It's been a great day. It's also been a terrific day for a lot of people, but for others, not so much. Later on tonight, we shall be talking about something very, very close to Kenyans' hearts, matters of insurance. And we have somebody, senior person from the Insurance Regulatory Authority, here to answer all of your questions, all of your concerns on insurance. For example, you just heard that in the new motor vehicle tax, insurance companies will be required to actually collect this insurance. How? Let's have the answers from this gentleman who is with us tonight. All that and so much more later on Insight. But first, for a glimpse of what we have in store, here are the highlights. As schools commence the second term of the academic year and welcome students back, there are reports of some students still yet to arrive at schools in different parts of the country.
We didn't open as scheduled because we did not have toilets that the girls can use.
Victims of flooding camping in several parts of the country decry the lack of basic needs.
Huko penye wanatafuta maji ni mbali sana, ni almost 10 kilometers from here.
As some camping in schools will sleep in the cold following a notice that they received forcing them out of the schools.
Wametuambia anytime tunaweza fukuzwa na tear gas. Sasa hii maisha yetu kwa hatarini na vijana na vile tuko madharani ni slums.
And tonight we highlight the strong sentiments among a section of Kenyans regarding government services, suggesting that they should match the level of taxes being paid by the citizens.
Most important thing that we want, how we can improve even the roads so that we can access so many places in
Now, that is just a glimpse of what we have in store for you. Later on in the interview segment, we shall be talking all about insurance. So I want you to prepare your questions. I want you to prepare your inquiries. We shall be taking them live and trying to see if you can get the answers that you deserve. Our producers will put the SMS line on your screen. They will also put the WhatsApp number on your screen. They will also put a phone line that we would also be able to allow you to make phone calls live, and we shall be able to see if we can get your answers from that. But first, let's get into the news. And our schools continue to open their gates for students for the second term of the school calendar year. Some students are yet to report to schools in various parts of the country. In some counties, various school heads have requested more time to ensure that they repair crucial facilities like toilets and infrastructure that may have been damaged by the raging floods that arose from the heavy rains that have been pounding the country for weeks and delayed school reopening. Take a look.
The situation at Mount Carmel Girls Secondary School in Makueni County, affected by the effects of the heavy rains that have continued to pound the country and caused major disruptions to day-to-day life, including destruction of infrastructure that delayed the reopening of the school.
We didn't open as scheduled because we did not have toilets that the girls can use.
And even though some schools have reopened, some are yet to receive students, requesting more time to repair the infrastructure that is crucial to the students.
As the girls come tomorrow, at least they'll find the toilets are complete.
Ministry of Education officials confirming that indeed the students have not reported to school because of the current situation.
But now we see the progress is on course, and we are pretty sure when the girls resume term 2 tomorrow, they will find facilities that can be of help to them.
At St. Patrick's Primary School, not even half of the pupils are reported to school because of the impassable roads, all because of the heavy rains.
Mahali tumesimama ndio njia ambayo watoto wanastahili wapitie, but hakuna mahali wanaweza kapita.
Embu County Director of Education Kosgeiki Pruto has however urged school heads across the country to be keen in construction works, saying from the assessment, poor workmanship has led to destruction of infrastructure.
We are going to have the meetings with our head teachers and our officers so that we also emphasize on the need to supervise construction, especially on critical installations like those toilets.
Schools reopened for the second term earlier this week after a postponement that arose from the uncertainty of the weather situation in the country. Vera Alberta, TV47.
Tonight, for a third day in a row, the victims of flooding camping in the Mathare North area will sleep in the cold. This follows a notice that they received that forced them out of the school hall that they were in. Our reporter Sheila Chelangat toured this area and files this report of their plight and the push for assistance in starting their lives afresh.
Deep in thought, these men and women lay here in this makeshift tent as they shelter themselves from the harsh rays of the sun. This space, though tiny, at night serves as shelter for over 100 people, still squeezing themselves here to get some sleep.
Kwa hiyo muda yote hakuna kitu yenye tumepata. Sasa walitoka tu wakatuambia tokeni, nafasi yenu hakuna hapa. Tukajaribu kutaka kukaa hapa lakini hawakutusikia, wakatupa kila kitu nje.
They are among a group of the flood-affected families in Mathare that had been camping in this school's dining hall. But as the schools resumed, their time here lapsed.
Tuliambiwa tunatolewa, tunapewa pesa, tunaambiwa tuende kwa jirani. Jirani gani yenye tunaenda kwake? Hatuna jirani. Mimi nikitaka kwenda kwa jirani wanipeleke kwa chief niishi huko.
Lunchtime and everyone here gathers around to have a share of the little they have managed to get from well-wishers.
Watoto wamelala njaa kuanzia jana mpaka saa hii. Hawajakula, watoto wana njaa.
The conditions of staying here have become even tougher. No water at their disposal or even toilets.
Na pia bado tena machozi imefungwa. Maji pia tumefungiwa maji. Tumeambiwa tusitumie ile maji ya serikali za kutoa shule.
Na kwa vile hakuna njia nyingine tunaweza fanya, hatuwezi toka hapa tuende kwa madarasa na ni kama tunafukuzwa kwa hii shule. Sasa sisi tunakaa pale bila kujali. Juu hatuna njia nyingine vile tunaweza fanya. Ama hakuna mahali nyingine tunaweza hamia.
Wametuambia anytime tunaweza fukuzwa na tear gas. Sasa hii maisha yetu kwa hatarini na vijana na vile tuko Mathare ni slums, tena maisha yetu bado kwa hatarini juu tunalala nje. Hatuna security yoyote, tunalala kwa magunia.
They feel forgotten and continue to wait on well-wishers as they put in place plans to move from here.
It is the fourth week for the affected residents staying in this school. They say their fate seems to hang in the balance. For today, they are fortunate to put a meal on the table. However, they say they are uncertain of their stay here. Sheila Chelangat for TV47 in Mathare, Nairobi.
Now, the fate of hundreds of flood victims living in camps in Turkana County is at a crossroads, as most of the camps continue to report dwindling support from both the county and national government. The affected families who spoke to TV47 have disclosed that a lack of medicine, food, as well as water continues to wreak havoc in the camps, a situation which they say has resulted to further desperation. Our reporter, Arnold Adidi, tells us more.
This is Natapar Kakano camp in Lodwar town. Despite the small size of this temporary shelter, more than 200 residents are being hosted here after losing their homes to floods. The families here say that conditions within these camps have only made their lives to be more difficult.
Tuko watu 10 kwa tenti moja na watoto na mzee. Wakati hata mzee anapenduka upande huu, unagusa mtoto, unaguza hema. Nilikuwa naomba tu rais utuone tu kama ni kuongeza hizo tent, ndio watoto walale nini upande ingine, alafu wewe na mzee upande ingine, kwa sababu imetuletea shida kabisa. Sababu ukisema unalala nje, unalala umbu iko.
Despite the county government of Turkana pledging full support to victims of floods, locals here say that only little has been received from their local government.
Sisi hapa hatujailetewa maji, tumeletewa maji safari mbili kabisa. Huko penye wanatafuta maji ni mbali sana. Ni almost 10 kilometers from here. 10 kilometers na huko ni hatari tena pia.
Ile chakula tuliletewa hapa na deputy governor, kutoka tuletewe ni hiyo chakula ndio tunatumia na tunapika mara moja tu kwa siku.
Tumekuja hapa tumeumia. Ilikuwa tunaenda huko tunaingia hata bush, tunakata makuni, tunapeleka, tunauza, tunapata pesa hata ya kulipia school fees. Lakini saa hii hakuna. Sisi saa hii tuko tu.
The only plea from these families, which now have to live as refugees, though within their locality, is for the national government to intervene and help restore normalcy in the area.
Ni watoto na mama, angalie pile iko. Waambia William Ruto, angalie sisi. Angalie sisi kabisa, kama hakuna tukuje tuone.
Arnold Adidi, TV47.
Now, as the heavy rains continue to wreak havoc across the country, the county of Laikipia has adopted a new technology, something they call slam dam technology, in a bid to prevent devastating impacts of floods, while also conserving water for irrigation during the drought season. Elizabeth Atieno with the details.
In Limuru, Laikipia County, we meet a group of young men fixing pipes to these black polythene bags that have been embedded in flood water. This is a technology dubbed slam dam. In this technology, flood water is captured and directed into these polythene bags using the pipes for storage. The technology is mostly recommended for flood-prone areas.
Na hii teknolojia unatumia maji kuzuia maji. Na ile maji tunaweka hapa ndani. Wakati mvua inakatika, unatumia hiyo maji kama ni kulima, na kama ulikuwa umeweka maji safi, hiyo maji unaweza tumia pia kwa nyumbani.
The slam dam technology offers a golden opportunity for the locals to farm and use the stored water for irrigation during drought, which in turn enhances food security. The slam dam technology, developed in the Netherlands, is an innovative and low-cost technological solution to enhance resilience against flood. The product is a mobile emergency barrier which can easily be deployed when there is a threat of flooding. The same technology can also be used to store water and other fluids vapor tight to improve access to water in times of drought.
Slam dam inatumika kama daraja. Wakati akuko maji imekuwa mingi zaidi, unaweza pitia pale juu.
The primary function is to block flooding water and assist in pushing it back to its intended path. It is a project that has also been used in Burundi and Nigeria, where agriculture production has since doubled.
This is a new technology that has not been there in the country, and it is intended to prevent the floods that are particularly brought about during the El Nino and even during the heavy rains. That many are the times that we find, even currently, you find that we have loss of lives and assets and properties.
For now, residents and especially farmers in Laikipia County are anxiously waiting to see the results of the slam dam technology during the drought season. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47.
Kenya has officially signed a deal with Uganda to import Uganda's petroleum products directly through the port of Mombasa from June 2024. This thwarts advances from Tanzania to fill that very role. The two countries also signed 6 other memoranda of understanding to ensure collaboration on gender matters, public service dispensation, youth empowerment and trade. This comes with glad tidings for businesses trading goods across the border as the countries remove all remaining trade tariffs and levies to facilitate seamless transactions.
After a joint ministerial meeting held from the 12th to the 14th of this month in Kampala, Uganda, at last Uganda's President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni came to the country to sign a tripartite agreement, finally granting the Uganda National Oil Company rights to directly import refined petroleum to the Pearl of Africa.
Finally, as we have witnessed, the tripartite agreement on the importation and transit of refined petroleum products through Kenya to Uganda, whose signing we've just witnessed, enables Uganda National Oil Company Limited to import refined product commodities directly from producers in different jurisdictions, thus bringing to an end the challenges faced by the sector in Uganda.
apart from economic integration for prosperity, you need to address with the issue of strategic security. And the only way you can do it is through political integration. Because even if you are a common market, the army is not one. You don't have one army. Each one has got his small army there.
Furthermore, trade tariffs, levies, and other impediments across the two borders have been removed, ensuring seamless business transactions across the border. As the two countries work on their relationship, Uganda's president pushed a joint political regime for the East African community and eventually the entire continent.
This is how the question of the soko comes in. Nani atanunua bidhaa zako kwa wingi na kwa muda mrefu na kwa hakika?
7 memoranda of understanding have been signed between Kenya and Uganda, one of them granting Uganda the right to import petroleum products directly from the Mombasa port, this to enhance economic ties between the two countries. However, with the prospect of having a pipeline directly from Eldoret to Kampala, one must wonder what this would mean for transporters across the country. Hibak Said for TV47 Nairobi.
In other news, members of parliament have raised a major concern on State House's budget after State House Controller Kato Olemetito revealed that the state agency intends to spend about 7.9 billion shillings on recurrent expenditure in the financial year 2024-2025. This is while appearing before the National Assembly's Security Committee. The Controller of Budget told members that the major challenge comes with recurrent expenditure, stating that out of 7.9 billion, only 1.5 will be channeled to development, while the other amount will cater for salaries, wages and consumption, with MPs linking that to wastage of taxpayers' funds.
It was a date for the State House Comptroller Kato Olemetito to present the budget estimates for the House on the Hill before the National Assembly's Security Committee. Documents tabled before the National Assembly's Committee on Administration and Internal Security by the Comptroller show out of the total budgetary allocation of 9.4 billion shillings, recurrent expenditure will utilize at least 7.9 billion shillings and 1.1 billion shillings will be channeled to development expenditure.
What were the expenses used for? And actually, it is just the shortfall of all the activities that have been budgeted, be it emoluments, personnel emoluments, operations and maintenance. You know, it is just that what we were provided was not enough. There was that shortfall, then we were given for it.
MPs raising crucial questions regarding the recurrent expenditure with the total budget allocation of 9.4 billion shillings. The legislators were scrutinizing anticipated expenditures by State House, particularly during a period of economic hardships for taxpayers, with the government aiming to reduce the wage bill, which burdens Kenyans. Concerns were raised about the potential wastage of funds.
It would be good that instead of asking for that little extra that you're asking, kindly be considerate of all the other departments and Kenyans and just make do with what you have.
Facilities than this place. There was an uproar a short while back, Chair, about the monies going to the recurrent expenditure of the advisors. And I saw a comment, Chair, where the advisors were saying that they are the vision holders. They cannot be the vision holders. The president is the vision holder for the country.
We have had an expanded mandate as State House because more often than not, the head of state always issues executive orders, you know, giving expanded mandates to several departments, especially State House.
By his own admission, Katole Metito stated that the recurrent expenditure had skyrocketed over the years, with huge expenditure on recurrent expenditure being utilized on wages and purchase of goods as well as services, even as it emerged that President William Ruto had gotten a wind of the ballooning recurrent expenditure, which prompted him to summon the 4 accounting offices in the state agency, where he read them a riot act on cutting unnecessary expenditure. Elizabeth Mutiko, TV47, Nairobi.
Still in the same line, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has refuted claims that his office is requesting 1.2 billion shillings from the Exchequer for renovations and purchase of vehicles. Deputy President Rigathi now says that his budget estimates are occasioned by the poor state of existing infrastructure that requires repair. George Maringa reports.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has broken his silence on the budget proposals for his office. In a statement by the head of Deputy Presidential Communications Service, Njeri Rugene, the DP's office said that their attention was drawn to reports on the presentation of the 2024-2025 financial year budget estimates and the 2023-2024 supplementary 2 estimates. The contention is on the figures that were presented to the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security by the Office of the Deputy President. According to Rigathi, the figures are different. It is on the request for 300 million shillings for renovation of the Harambee House Annex Office, official residence in Karen, and the official residence in Mombasa. Rigathi says the Harambee House Annex Office and Mombasa residence have been neglected over the last 15 years, affecting critical areas of habitability, safety, and security. The Deputy President has also made a request for an upgrade of the official vehicles. For the financial year 2024-2025, the office placed a request of 100 million Kenya shillings. The DP, in his justification, maintains that for the last 10 years, the office of the Deputy President has heavily relied on old and refurbished vehicles, which are costly to maintain, compromising service delivery. George Maringa, TV47, Nairobi.
Government services should be commensurate to the taxes that Kenyans pay. This is according to a section of Kenyans in response to President William Ruto's sentiment defending the government's plan to impose additional taxes on Kenyans. The president revealing that he intends to raise the country's average tax rate from 14% to 16% by the end of the year 2024, and aims that between 20 and 22% of this should happen by the end of his term in office. Here is Moige William with more details on that report.
A hotly debated matter. Kenyans are voicing their concerns over the government's proposal for more raids on their income, citing a lack of transparency regarding previous tax collections. The Finance Bill 2024, presented to the National Assembly on May 13, 2024, proposes numerous amendments to acts including the Kenya Revenue Act, Public Finance Management Act, Affordable Housing Act, and Data Protection Act, with the aim of boosting the country's revenue collection to 20% and ensuring tax compliance.
Now, perhaps a good start would be how much taxes did we collect in the year so far, and how much of that, for example, is attributed to measures that were introduced through Finance Act 2023.
Stakeholders in the business sector further adding that Kenyans will be willing to pay whatever percentage of tax that the government will propose, but insist that management of public finances is the greatest detriment in rallying for domestic revenue mobilization, even as President William Ruto earlier maintained that the Kenya Kwanza administration aims to raise average tax rate to 22% by 2027.
You're getting relief on one hand, but it seems you're being subjected to higher taxes on another.
And take from one hand by giving the good incentive from in the pay as you earn, and then taking it back out when it comes to introduction of VAT, even on bread, VAT on financial services.
Kenyans have expressed expressed strong opposition to the tax proposals outlined in the Finance Bill 2024, despite President Ruto's recent statement at State House acknowledging the challenges ahead. He emphasized that although there will be complaints, Kenyans will eventually recognize the government's intentions behind the tax-raising measures. Business stakeholders have urged the president to consider the delicate balance between tax rates and economic growth in the country.
That you should not bring to them a budget that we prepared in Nairobi. They want a budget that they have their voices in.
The most important thing that we want, how we can improve even the roads so that we can access so many places.
Is it a race to the bottom or killing the goose that lays the golden eggs? These are just but some of the concerns Kenyans are raising as the debate on Finance Bill 2024 rages on. Muyakane, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, Kenyans have been urged to thoroughly grasp the contents of the finance bill before its presentation in Parliament in the coming days. The proactive measure is being advocated for to prevent potential grievances from arising among Kenyans following the bill's enactment. If deemed beneficial, giving it approval would be prudent. However, if it's perceived as disadvantageous, Kenyans have been encouraged to utilize appropriate channels for dissent. The Constitution and Reform Education Consortium has emphasized the importance of increased vigilance among Kenyans during this period. Paul Kirobi has the details.
A new issue of contention between the government and civil society organizations is anticipated to take center stage in the coming days, making another round of push and pull. The Constitution and Reform Education Consortium is encouraging Kenyans to exercise their legitimate will regarding the Finance Bill 2024. The Constitution and Reform Education Consortium is encouraging Kenyans to exercise their legitimate will regarding the Finance Bill 2024, whether they choose to support it or not. The call comes after the groups took ample time to scrutinize the crucial issues outlined in the bill. Civil society organizations now say that the process is already being politicized and advocate for the involvement of experts in the process instead.
Watch out. You must stand firm. Maandamano might not be the way to go necessarily, but there are very many options we have, including judicial petitions, to ensure that the will of the people is respected.
As public participation on the bill is already underway at the county level, many Kenyans have already expressed fears that if enacted into law, it will bring more harm than good.
Sisi walimu wa JSS tutaumia zaidi. Ndio maana tunasema tusipojitetea saa hizi tutaumia zaidi.
Life is very expensive, bearing in mind that uchumi umeenda juu, gharama ya maisha imeenda juu sana.
Civil society organizations argue that last year's finance bill had adverse effects on the livelihood of Kenyans, despite the court's objections to how the public participation was conducted.
We challenged it in court, and you saw there are many stages where also that decision was also lost on the basis of poor public participation.
Among the key proposals in the Finance Bill 2024 are to delete the VAT exemption for betting, gambling and lottery services. These services will be subject to a VAT at the standard rate, currently at 16%. Also, there will be a change in timelines for manufacturers of alcohol beverages to remit excise duty from 24 hours. The Committee on Finance is expected to complete public participation on 28th of May 2024 before it is tabled in Parliament.
President William Ruto is insisting that the government will have to depend on taxpayers' money in order to carry out development plans in the country. But now the question that begs is whether President William Ruto will be able to complete debt payment under a period of 5 years in leadership. Paul Kirobi, TV47, Nairobi.
Tonight, the Limuru 3 conveners, that is Martha Karua and Jeremiah Kioni, denied claims over fallout ahead of Friday's meeting after reports emerged on the emergence of two camps over the agenda. A group allied to Martha Karua wanted her to be endorsed as the region's kingpin, while the Kioni-led faction wants tomorrow's meeting to be purely consultative on issues affecting the region. And as Apollo Kamau reports, Kenya-Kwanza leaders from Mount Kenya region have dismissed the meeting as a mere tribal gathering.
With conveners of Limuru 3 meeting slated for Friday, bracing for the event, divisions on the agenda threatened to scatter the meeting that has split Azimio and Kenya-Kwanza leaders in the Mount Kenya region. Insiders from the Karua Kioni camps say a faction allied to Karua wanted her endorsed as the region's kingpin, while the Kioni side wanted the meeting to be purely consultative on issues affecting the region.
We are set to go for Limuru 3 tomorrow.
We are quite orderly, and we think that that's the way politics and political discourse should be conducted.
The government has got nothing to do with this meeting. This is a people's meeting.
One man, one vote, one shilling.
Kenya Kwanza leaders from the region, led by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, have said they will give the meeting a wide berth, terming it a tribal grouping, while Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria has said he will attend.
Watu wa Kirinyaga hawana haja na ukabila. Watu wa Mount Kenya hawana haja na ukabila. Hao wanataka kujua kama wakiuza avocado iko na soko. Majani chai ina bei nafuu. Kahawa imeuzwa vile inatakikana.
Tuna mmoja wetu ambao ni Deputy President wa kutoka area hii, kama wako na jambo wakiandika ile maneno yote wataongea, tunaweza kuwasaidia. Nipelekee Deputy President, na Deputy President atapeleka kwa President.
On the agenda will be a resolution on the formation of one political party in the restive region, the issue of taxes and the high cost of living. Amid reports, retired President Uhuru Kenyatta might attend the meeting.
Given that His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was given the mantle to be the political leader of the Mount Kenya region during the Limuru 2, and therefore up to now he carries the mantle as it were, even when he is out of government. That means that his views and his position becomes very important.
Apul Kamau, TV47.
Good people, we now take a short break. When we come back, we will be joined by Mr. John Kalai Muse, who is the Director of Supervision at the Insurance Regulatory Authority. And we are here to talk about all things insurance. If you've got questions about insurance, if you've got concerns about insurance, here's a man to help all of us to understand this better. He'll be joining us after the break. And I urge you to keep tabs on what's happening. The SMS line, the WhatsApp number, and the phone call number will be on your screen in the course of that interview. Let us know what you think. Keep it right here. We'll be right back after this.
Kila kiongozi ana hadithi yake ya kipekee.
Wazazi wangu walikuwa bit strict kwa sababu mamangu mwenyewe, mimi kutoka kuzaliwa sijailala nje.
The white small one, huyo ana sniff gunpowder na risasi na bomb. Alafu huyo mwingine ni ridgeback ana sniff simba.
Even the employees knows that. So when in the boardroom is the chairman, the CEO, and the rest of.
At what point are you a wife?
The minute you get to that inside that door, you become now the wife.
Na kila maamuzi wanayoyafanya hufichua mengi kuhusu utu wao na uongozi wao.
We see God blessing us, and we now realize the power of giving also has to be rewarded back.
Kupitia kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi, tunakuletea mahojiano ya kusisimua na uchambuzi wa kina kuhusu viongozi wetu.
Pick your core business as the bigger stones. Put them in your diary first. Give priority the bigger things.
Usikose kila Alhamis saa 1:30 jioni.
In a world where challenges are as common as opportunities, there are those who dare to defy the odds. They are the entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship isn't just about starting a business, it's about embracing uncertainty, pushing boundaries, and turning dreams into reality.
Hata ambao ni pesa ya kusave, wallahi. Ambao mwaka ni pesa nyingi sana.
As long as you're earning something, there's always that opportunity to save. And you start with where you are.
The way we run the business is in a very unforgiving way.
where every team member has to bring out their best.
So, to all the dreamers, innovators, and risk takers out there, remember, being an entrepreneur isn't just a job, it's a way of life. Join the journey. Become an entrepreneur. The Grind, Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Here on Beyond the Limit, we celebrate the extraordinary achievements of individuals who redefine possibilities. In a journey of resilience and determination, these individuals demonstrate that limitations are merely stepping stones to greatness.
I'm Nancy Njoroge, a mother of 3. I have 2 girls and a boy who is Clinton and who is autistic.
When my heart got healed, I decided to come out to be creating CP awareness, to let other people know that there is such a condition, and people that has it is not that they are witches.
Together, let's go beyond the limit every Saturday at 8 p.m.
Welcome to The Realtor, where we take you on an exciting journey from bare land to dream home. Step 1. Finding the perfect plot. We explore location, size, and potential. Next, construction begins. Witness the foundation being laid, walls rising, and rooms taking shape. Step 3. Electricity matters. We delve into wiring, switches, and smart home tech. Step 4. From paint choices to fixtures, it's all about aesthetics. Step 5. It's time to get the right furniture. Finally, the big day. Time to move in and create memories. Join us on the journey to making homes a reality on The Realtor, Tuesdays, 6:30. Morning Cafe.
Well, the time is here. It's time to talk about all matters insurance. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce this gentleman who is very interesting. His name is Mr. Kalai Muse. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
You had the supervision department at IRA.
Yes, that's right.
Karibu sana. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like the 2 African names. It's very, very strong, very powerful.
Okay.
Wherever it is you're watching us from, what are your 2 African names? Are they tongue twisters or easy to say, like Kalai Muse? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Tell us, what does IRA, what does your department do at IRA?
My department is called Supervision Directorate. It's actually a directorate. This directorate, what it does is basically to look at the insurance industry, all the players in the insurance industry, starting from licensing all the way to looking at how they do their business, how they conduct themselves, how they treat their customers, and all those aspects. That's what supervision is all about, just to make sure that they operate within the law. We are the Insurance Act which we enforce. So it's ensuring that everybody plays within the Insurance Act.
And obviously your actions are actually backed up by law.
Yes,
you're empowered
that's right.
by the law.
Yeah.
Now, good sir, there's people that would say, you people are now like the prefects of all the insurance companies.
We are.
What do you do to insurance companies that are found to be rogue, or to go against the law or against best practice, or even operating in bad faith?
Actually, again, the law provides for actions that can be taken. And those actions can vary, including warnings, we warn them, reprimanding, there are several of them, penalizing, and it ends probably with cancelling their license. at the end of the day. That's the worst you can do. Yeah, so there is a chain of actions that are provided for in the Insurance Act that we can take.
Right.
Yes.
Another challenge that we have seen is a lot of Kenyans have raised some concern over the fact that your organization are supposed to be the people that everyone runs to when there's trouble. If you're having trouble dealing with your insurance company.
That's right.
They should come to you.
Could
you just briefly outline for us the process of addressing some of these concerns?
Yes, if you are dealing with an insurance company, of course, many times you'll be okay with the services they give you. But at some point, you may find that they don't serve you the way you feel you should be served. And you need somebody to look at that and support you. That's actually why we are there. Because our business is actually protection of policyholders and insurance beneficiaries. That's why our mandate is to protect you. So if you have any issues, there is an avenue for you to come to us and complain. Or even seek advice. They could be telling you something and you are not comfortable with that.
Yes.
You can actually come to us, seek technical advice. Is what they are telling me the correct thing? Should I go that way? We can give that advice, that technical advice. So there's a procedure. You can actually go to our website and lodge your complaint there. There are also telephone numbers. If you go to the website, you see telephone numbers which you can call us, some of them toll-free, so that you can lodge your complaint. Or you can physically walk into our offices, which are based in Hapail, Zephyr Place, second floor.
And you can be assisted?
You can be assisted.
You know, there's a subject, in recent years, of course, we've had a few insurance companies that have actually collapsed.
That's right.
And of course, when they collapse, there's a lot of stress among the people who actually are their clients. How do they get their money back? How do they get the service back? And we've seen some payouts. For example, the Policyholders Compensation Fund says it paid out about 93 million actually, 93 million, about 94 million to customers of the collapsed Resolution Insurance, Concord and Standard Assurance Company.
That's right.
That was around last year.
Yes.
But at the same time, Treasury was also under pressure to soften these payouts, you know, to these.
I said the worst action we can take is close a company. So you can see before we take that action, we've done a lot of things to try and make sure that this company does not collapse. Collapsing is actually the last option. That's the last thing. Now, we know if there is a collapse, the policyholders may suffer, those who are insured with the company. That's why the Policyholders Compensation Fund was established, to ensure that if a company collapses, in fact, the law provides that immediately the Commission of Insurance cancels the license or puts this company under statutory management, the Policyholders Compensation Fund should come in immediately and pay some compensation. It will not pay everything because it may not be possible to pay everything, but it will lessen the burden that these policyholders may feel. So at the moment, I think they pay about 250,000 for every claim.
Okay.
Yes. That ensures that at least there is some relief for those people who are involved in that company.
Now, in the last few years, your organization, the IRA, has released some data, and particularly the particular bit I'm interested in is in the number of punitive efforts that you have to do, like the number of punishments or the number of steps you have to take to keep insurance companies in check. And if I'm not wrong, the number of interventions that your organization has to make has been increasing. Which appears to imply that insurance companies are increasingly misbehaving. Why is this so? What is the new trend that is happening that is causing insurance companies to step out of line, so much so that your organization has to crack the whip more and more than before?
I don't know whether I can say it's a cultural issue. Are Kenyans tending towards a lot of misbehavior? Are we seeing something like that? I don't know. But just to say that as we move on, we've actually been amending the law to increase the sanctions. The law we have at the moment is a NOD law, enacted in 1984. When the fines put at that time were very small and insignificant. So of late we have actually been amending the law to enhance and increase the penalties, especially administrative penalties. Initially the fines which were there were where you have to go to court and you know that process, a long process.
Yes.
But now we have introduced administrative penalties, which the commissioner can actually instantly administer. And that is what you see in our reports. Yeah, so those are actually developments which are happening.
But then it also points at a very worrying trend, because clearly more and more people are taking up insurance than ever before.
Yeah.
The numbers seem to suggest that. But there are also more and more insurance companies getting into the fray. But we're seeing breaches like failing to pay claims, late payment of annual licensing fees, late submission of financial performance records, and a few other things. Things that actually put you as the regulator, you're in the dark about, about how stable are these companies, how safe are some of these covers, and it puts a lot of pressure on you. So what apart from amending the law and raising some of these fines, what other things are the IRA using to make sure that insurance in Kenya is a much safer, much cleaner, and much more streamlined process?
Let me say that there are a lot of developments. We've introduced something we call risk-based supervision. This ensures that customers or the companies are more financially stable. Basically, what we are telling the insurance companies is that they must come up with risk management frameworks so that they can be able to know when they are about to get into trouble. Instead of waiting until they get into trouble, they should have mechanisms to monitor their operations, whether governance, financial operations, and things like that, and see when they are likely to get in trouble.
Kind of like early warning signs.
Early warning signs. And when they see those signs, they're actually supposed to come to us and tell us, we have noticed something here. We may be getting into trouble. Then we'll be asking them, so tell us what you are doing about it. What measures are you putting in place to make sure you don't get into that? In that way, we'll ensure that these companies are more financially strong, so that, of course, we get the customers more protected in that manner. Yes.
Now, I want to shift gears a little bit, but before that, and by the way, good people, the SMS line should be on your screen, the WhatsApp number should be on your screen. Send in your questions for Mr. Muse, and we shall be able to ask him to answer those questions for you live and direct. The WhatsApp is coming straight to me, so don't you worry about whether you're going to get your questions answered. Send it. The number's on your screen. Sir, of late, we're seeing banks entering into the insurance space.
Yes.
Talk to us about, do they also submit, first of all, to the supervision and the oversight from you as well, or do they submit to other processes, perhaps other supervisory agencies that look after banks?
Okay, thank you for the question. And I think it's good you have asked this question. Banks have actually come into insurance. But remember, banks are regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya. We don't regulate the banks. What we have told the banks is they have come to us and said they have a large number of customers. And these customers may not have insurance. And they know them, they know their financial ability, they have all the information about them. So they have come to us and said, we know our customers, and we think we can come up with products which our customers can make use of and help the penetration of insurance. So we have told them, yes, we can allow you to do that. But they only do that as intermediaries. They don't take the risk. They are not taking the risk.
They can only function as brokers.
They are just as brokers. They take the risk, take it to an insurance company licensed by us. So what we have told the banks is form subsidiaries for this purpose.
As for the purpose of
for
brokering.
the purpose of insurance, form a subsidiary. In fact, we call them bank assurance intermediaries. The law was amended to create a category of licenses called bank assurance intermediaries. So they're just like brokers or agents, but related to the banks, actually owned by the banks. Yeah, so that is the structure. So it is not the banks who are doing insurance, it is that entity that they are formed.
It doesn't create some sort of insider, situation where somebody uses information they know, gives them undue advantage, do you think, in the market?
It can, and there's been complaints about that, including issues of probably forcing clients to go through them even when they have other brokers.
Exactly. Like, for example, if you're taking a car loan with Bank A, they'll tell you, listen, we'll give you the loan, provided you insure that car with
our agency. And there's that problem. But the law was actually amended to outlaw that. So that's actually not allowed. If we get that, there are sanctions to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are questions here. For example, somebody's saying, insurance looks to be just a middle class and rich man's thing. How can you make it easier for us kawaida Kenyans to access insurance? What would you say to such a person?
Yeah, an interesting question. Let me say that could be true traditionally. I think that's what has been happening. You find the insurance products which have been there seem to have been for middle class and the rich. But now we have new products, which we call micro insurance products, which anybody can afford. So there are products which are actually made for the low income earners. And we have a separate regulation for that. And we have separate players for that. In fact, already we have licensed about 2 players. To offer those products. They are not being offered by the normal companies. We have told the normal companies, no, you are used to these ones for middle class and others.
Right.
We want a separate company to do this new product. So going forward, hopefully, we are going to see a lot of penetration to all those areas. Anybody can afford insurance because it's just a matter of deciding the product which suits your needs. Because everybody has risk. Nobody can say they do not have risk, and insurance deals with the risk.
Right.
So it's a matter of somebody coming and designing a product which is suitable for your situation.
Right.
Yes.
Now, there's also another question that came here, and somebody is asking, could you shed some light on the matter of how, this is in medical insurance.
Yes.
Can the IRA do something about some private medical insurance companies raising problems when it comes to payment if you have NHIF as well? There's been, I think if I understand them correctly, some private insurances will say they will not cover past a certain point if they know that you also have another insurance, particularly NHIF. Could you shed some light on this? Is there any violation that is being done by these companies? And is there any protection that can come for such people? What would you say?
I think it's an issue of understanding the product that you have bought from this company. Because, and I think that's the mistake most of the policyholders make, that you buy an insurance product, but you actually do not know what is covered and what is not covered until you have a problem, and then somebody comes and tells you, no, I only cover this and not this. And if you look at it, all that was in the policy document which somebody was given, probably they never even read, understood what it is. It's all there. So it depends on the product you buy. Traditionally, insurance is bought to cover what is not covered. If you already have some other cover and you buy insurance, ideally, in most of the products, they will say, now as you come and cover what is not covered. Because you already have the NHIF.
The balance.
As you come for the balance. Others may say, depending on the way you approach them and tell them, me, ignore NHIF, I want cover for everything. And you pay for that because there's a price for everything. Yeah. If they just cover the excess, you may find it's cheaper than if they say they are going to cover everything. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying it's an issue of knowing exactly what is covered. If people know what is covered and they have read that, you will find very few disputes.
Right.
Yeah.
And how can you help people to understand this more? I believe it's a question of awareness. It's also a question of how to interpret this very sometimes legalistic language that we find in
those policy documents.
Yeah. So how can people at home learn how to do this?
If you look at the policy documents being issued today and look at one issued more than 10 years ago, you see a lot of big difference. We have actually worked on those policy documents. We have come up with standard wording to say how the wording should be, including the fonts and even the language. We have removed actually all that legal language. We have increased the fonts. We have said the fonts should be minimum 12.
Yeah, so nothing like small print?
No small print. We have already addressed that.
Okay, here's another question from Edward. He says, my question is, and these are directly from the audience, do insurance claims have an expiry period? As in, you can't claim after a certain period of time. This is Edward's question. And second, does the IRA have bylaws which can be accessed online by policyholders? This is Edward.
Okay. Yes. Again, it is in a policy document. If you look at the policy document, it says how to claim and when to claim. In fact, I think they use the word claim within reasonable time. Because you may have a claim, but you are in hospital. Probably you are injured.
Yes.
And you spend a year in hospital.
Yes.
You will not be expected to claim within a month. So there are provisions there. Claim as soon as possible. And the policy document states, some of them, I think they even state and say within 3 months or whatever it is. So there are actually provisions on when you can claim. If you come after that and it is found not to be reasonable, you just stayed home and waited, it's 1 year down the line, then you are coming to claim. The company will deny liability. Okay. And there's a reason for that.
Okay.
In some of these cases, there will be need for investigation. Like if it's a car accident, you had a car accident and you don't report. How will the insurance company be able to investigate and see exactly what happened? They will not be able to do that.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. We have somebody else here. You've not left your name, but you say, please, I had an accident on Mombasa Road, hit by a college bus. Up to date, I have not been compensated. I'm really suffering a lot. Even my medical bills have been a problem. Why take so long? What would you say to such a person?
It depends on whether he claimed or he did not claim. Did he claim? Because, if you are hit by the college bus, the easiest way to do is go to your insurance company and claim. Then they will pay you and they follow up the insurer of the bus. So it's you to go to your insurer.
Your own insurer.
Your own insurer.
Right. But I think by the sound of it, this is just a pedestrian who was hit by a college bus.
By a college bus.
Yeah. I think that's, if I'm not wrong. Sir, if you're watching me, could you clarify on your question? Were you hit by a bus as a pedestrian or were you in another vehicle and so on? Please let us know. And keep the questions coming. Yeah. Okay. Someone else says, could you explain if the language is interesting. But I think if I may understand what they're saying, they would like to know if there's a provision for protecting whistleblowers. If you want to say something, reports a company to the IRA. Are you protected? Please.
Yes, you are protected. And we get a lot of anonymous reports on insurance companies. We actually have emails which you can do anonymously. We have drop boxes where you can come and drop your complaint and you take that. And as a regulator, we also encourage people, if you don't want to be found out, you can still come to me, tell me this is in confidence, and I want to do it in that manner.
Okay.
Yeah. So
All
it's
right.
possible.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Someone says, Mwiti Brenda says, I hope they fasten up or quicken the issuance of license to new insurance agents. Sometimes it is hectic. That's one of your people. Then Chepkirui Josephine, thank you so much. You're watching from Nakuru. So, yes. Is there a problem with the process of issuance of licenses to new insurance agents?
Yes, I know there is a problem at the moment. At the moment, it's because of the system. You know, we are all transferring to the e-citizen.
Right.
So I think there are just challenges of that movement to e-citizen. Many of our clients do not understand how to maneuver that. But we will come to them to the office. We will take them through what they need to do. And it's actually a very fast process if they are taken through.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so Brenda Mwiti, I hope you have had it straight from the director himself. I hope you can come to the office and they'll look after you. All right. Somebody else here is saying, yes, the gentleman that was hit by a vehicle says he was riding a bicycle, and this is in the year 2020. Is it too late? Is this within reasonable time?
Now, in that case, he should have gone to gone to a lawyer because it's a liability case.
Oh, I see.
He should have gone to a lawyer who should have taken the case with the insurance company. So I don't know whether he did that.
Okay.
It may not be 2020, 3 years. It may not be late.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's still time. Okay. I think the final question is that, because we are running out of time, somebody says, kindly ask, there's an insurance company that has failed to pay my pension. It's 1 year now since I submitted my resignation. What's the next step to take? This is someone called Omondi Pamphil. What would you advise them to do?
He should report to us. I think that's a case where
that's a case you can handle.
Yeah, we can handle that.
Mr. Omondi, if you can hear me, this is a case that the IRA can handle, and indeed they would ask you to report to them.
Yes, yes.
All right. And on that note, I think we wish to close our interview segment, but I wouldn't like to let you go without giving you an opportunity to speak to Kenyans. This is your camera. If there's a message you'd like to pass to Kenyans at this time, what would that be? Don't even look at me. Look at Kenyans directly. Talk to them.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think that the message I want to give to Kenyans is about the importance of insurance. It's just to tell you that insurance is a very important aspect of our lives because we are all accompanied by risk wherever we go. And insurance is able to ensure that you don't incur financial strain if the risk matures or happens. So please come to us, go to your insurance company, see what product suits your risk so that if you are in business, you know, if your business collapses, it will take you to zero and you may never recover. But with insurance, it ensures that you don't feel the pain. You continue the way you are. So insurance is important. Please go to your insurance company and buy a cover for your risks. That would be my message.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
I know
you.
this is a very big subject, and we only had a short amount of time.
Yes.
But thank you so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom on this matter.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Thank you.
Gentlemen and ladies, Mr. Kalai Muse.
Yes.
Thank you so much. The head of the Directorate for Supervision at the Insurance Regulatory Authority. The person who was asking for contacts, I think you can get them online. If you just Google the IRA, you'll be able to get the contacts. My name is Victor Muyakane. I wish you a good night full of God's blessings. And for the many people that made this news a reality, we say thank you.